Hey y'all, it's Takira from Triangle Doulas of Color. This is another episode of Doula Pregnancy Journey. So, in the first episode, I shared about the irony of my surprise pregnancy. If you did not watch that video, go back and watch it. I will put a link somewhere for you to be able to see that. So, go check that out if you haven't already. Now, I'm going to talk about finding out that you're pregnant, and me finding out that I'm pregnant, and kind of some of the realities that settle in when that can happen. So, finding out that you are expecting, whether it was planned or unplanned, can bring about an array of emotions, a lot of stress, can bring about some very big feelings about situations that feel a lot bigger than you, right? So now there's this whole other life that is at play here, and it can bring about changes in your relationship where things may have been really fun and easygoing, and we're hanging out and having a good time, to seeing those roles and responsibilities kind of shift, where partners have to get more involved in the day-to-day care that they may not have been as involved in, things that I may usually take care of, being in the first trimester of pregnancy, having low energy or feeling sick often, maybe not even being able to cook or clean up like I would usually do. Now my partner has to take on those responsibilities. And so that can bring another element of stress and just adjustment to the relationship and to your life as it is, as you've known it, right, up until this point. So definitely, in my first trimester, have experienced that exhaustion that is like no other. And it made it difficult to function, right? So, trying to work, trying to take care of the other kids, trying to take care of myself and our home was a lot more challenging than it usually is. So, along with just the stress of adjusting to a pregnancy and what you're going through physically, but particularly for Black women, finding out that they're expecting can bring about a reality of the current Black maternal health crisis, and that can bring a lot of fear and a lot of stress and anxiety about being pregnant in general. As Black women, I find that we can be like in between these two worlds of being overly medicalized like anyone else in the US. Honestly, this is like not an issue that is particularly like just for Black women, but the over medicalization of birth is something that is real, and a lot of medical interventions being heavily relied on during pregnancy or during birth can be something that we are navigating and trying to figure out, okay, what is necessary, what isn't necessary, what am I actually comfortable with, what am I not comfortable with. And the opposite end of the spectrum of that is needing medical care and concerns not being really heard or investigated in a timely fashion, which can be a dangerous space to be in as well, because then that can lead to not receiving the right care or not receiving care in the right time, at the right time. And that can be really important for someone who's having health complications and something going on with their pregnancy or something on with their birth or their health overall, right? So we want to make sure that we have care providers that we trust, that are listening to us, that investigate our concerns, and where we feel safe and cared for during our pregnancy and during our birth and during our postpartum period. So the Black maternal health crisis is pretty well known nowadays, where it's all over the media. So a lot of people calling me as a doula, right? A lot of clients calling in are saying, I want a doula because I know, that I'm at an increased risk when it comes to pregnancy and birth as a Black woman. I know that there are factors that are putting me at a higher risk. So, we definitely talk about quite a few things with our families, and helping them to feel safe and helping them to prepare themselves for birth and helping them to have healthy outcomes. But we talk about fear, and we talk about education as a big part of conquering and dealing with fear. Is learn more and be prepared, right? Know our plan A, our plan B, our plan C. understand the nuances and the functionality of physiologic birth. How does the body do this normally on its own, right? How is the body designed to give birth to a baby? That's learning about physiologic birth, natural birth without intervention. How does the body function? How does it work? That foundational knowledge, I feel like, is humongous. It's huge in building confidence and help you to see, like, oh wow, they're really, like, there's a whole intricate design here that's really beautiful, that has been put into place, and that can help people to feel a lot more safe, and knowing how to work with their body when it comes to labor and birth can be super helpful. So addressing fear, right? Actually fear clearing, thinking about what they may be concerned about, and addressing those things, even like journaling, writing it out, learning more about it, asking questions to their care provider, things like that, to do some actual clearing of the fears that may be coming up for them in particular. So that's one thing. Also looking at stress and health. So really putting into practice wellness practices, making sure we're exercising, talking about hydration, nutritious eating. These things can decrease the risk for pregnancy complications and ultimately birth complications, right? So really putting an emphasis on overall wellness during pregnancy and starting that as early as possible. Really being mindful of what we're consuming, not just in food and drink, but also what we're consuming in our mind state, right? And having really positive messages going on when it comes to what we are telling ourselves about birth, what we're telling ourselves about our body, what we're telling ourselves about our pregnancy, and what we're taking in from other people when it comes to those things. Seeking out positive birth stories can be instrumental with that. And also maybe having some birth affirmations or pregnancy affirmations that we are kind of feeding ourselves. Some people really enjoy like scriptures that are particularly uplifting and motivating. That can be super helpful during pregnancy and during birth. So figure out, what works for you, and definitely start to ingrain those things into your mental state while you are also being particularly mindful about what you're consuming physically. Stress, managing stress, and the nuances, right? So chronic stress can have detrimental impacts on pregnancy and birth, and so really implementing some stress reduction techniques. Exercise, once again, this can be prayer, meditation, this can be therapy, this can be journaling, it can be all of the above. Honestly, cover all your bases. I recommend therapy during pregnancy, especially. I always recommend it for couples when they're going to have a new baby, is go ahead and get ahead of it, because the changes start happening during pregnancy pretty early, with what we've just talked about, role responsibilities kind of shifting, and just the overall dynamic of the relationship can see a lot of changes. A lot of times you'll start to notice that in pregnancy, but especially during the postpartum period where you're also sleep deprived. Maybe sleep deprived. I won't put that on everybody, but it's a good idea to go ahead and get ahead of it and get some healthy practices for your mental health and for the health of your relationship ahead of time. So health and stress, things that we are addressing as we talk about Black maternal health or maternal health in general, and ways to be well during pregnancy. The other thing is support and care. So one, I firmly believe that choosing your care provider is one of the most important decisions you're going to make in your pregnancy. So don't take that lightly. Actually do your research, figure out what options you have available in your area. If you are healthy and low risk, explore out-of-hospital options. There may be local out-of-hospital birth centers in your area. There may be home birth midwives or providers that provide that type of support. I strongly encourage you, follow your maternal intuition. If you feel really led or kind of pulled in the direction of what you want, what you envision for your birth, then follow it through. Follow it and see, explore, learn your options, gather the information, because I don't believe you can make a decision without gathering all of your information. I think you should always be making informed decisions. Gather information and then navigate with what you've gathered, right? To choose the care provider that is right for you, that feels like a good fit. And we want that to feel like a good fit during pregnancy. We want that to feel like a good fit during birth. So don't just go with, oh, well, this is who's been doing my annual exams every year. That and birth are completely different. So select someone that feels like a really good fit for you and what your own desires are for your pregnancy and your birth and your health care kind of in general, and how you navigate that and how you navigate your wellness. You want someone that's really aligned. If you have a provider that's really, pushing a lot of medications for every little thing, but you're a person who really likes to explore like your herbal remedies or like your natural remedies and things like that, then that's probably going to be a clash and feel like resistance. It's going to feel like friction, most likely, through your pregnancy. And so you want someone who can honor and respect and give you all those options, right? Give me the natural options, and then give me, if that doesn't work, then we need to take it a step further and start using X, Y, and Z. So it might feel better for that particular person to have someone who will give them all those options and support all of those options. So I'm very much let me know my natural remedies. Let me know what kind of teas do I need to drink, and what do I need to do that I can actually do on my own before I usually work my way up to medication. And then then using medication would be a resort if the other things didn't really work for me. But what can I do with my diet? What can I do with my activity? What can I do with hydration that might be able to impact whatever issue I'm dealing with? That's how I approach it. So I appreciate a provider that allows me to really be there and be where I'm comfortable and support me in that. So those are really important aspects. And we also want to think about what support do we have. The support that we have during pregnancy, having someone to kind of walk the journey with us may look different for everyone. Some people were transplants to the area that we live in, or you might be native to the area you live in and have plenty of family and support around. I would say for this journey around, for me, all of my motherhood journey, this is the third time around, all of my motherhood journey, I've been a transplant to the area I live in, so my village is not close by, right? So I've had to build my village and build relationships with other people, other moms, other families, to utilize for support and to, have friendships and have village here where I am. So a lot of us are tasked with building our village during pregnancy or in the postpartum period as new moms and things like that. So really, I think it's important to prioritize building that village and really leaning into the vulnerability of making friends as an adult, which can be really hard. It can be challenging, but lean into it, right? Do it is important. And then, in particular, this pregnancy journey, I lost my mom. So I lost my mom before I got pregnant, and about probably 8 months before I got pregnant this time, I had lost my mom. So what care and support looks like for me may look a little different this time around. And I started to tune into that with when I started to think about what my birth support looked like. So I'd say when we think about our care, we think about care providers. When we think about support, you may also think about having a doula, a professional support person to be with you. That's what I do for a living. I'm a birth doula. And that support could be really crucial. And I really have leaned in during this pregnancy to understand that I'm probably going to want that maternal feel, that emotional support. I think it's going to be even more important for me this go round as I am learning how to mother without my own mother. So I hope this information was helpful for you. Just talking about finding out that you're pregnant and kind of some of the things that go through our minds and what we're having to deal with and how we can help set ourselves up for a healthy pregnancy. If you are looking, trying to figure out exactly what your desires are for your pregnancy and for your birth even, I would encourage you. I have a free guide. It's an advocacy for a birth bundle. It's for pregnancy and birth, and it's learning about how to advocate for the things that you desire. So the first step would probably be trying to explore some of the things that you might want and figuring out what your desires are, and then moving on to advocating for what those things may be. And that advocacy might take place with family and friends. That advocacy might take place with healthcare providers as we lean in and talk about Black maternal health. I hope this has been helpful for you. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Doula Pregnancy Journey.